Hello, everyone. There were many queries on how the evaluation process is done. Many students, parents, and teachers were going for evaluation the first time. They have requested me to do a video on how the Cbse evaluation is done. So this video, I will try to explain the whole evaluation process in the shortest possible time so you get an idea of how the evaluation is done so that you can give your papers well. And also it is useful for parents, students to understand the evaluation process so that you can write well. And also it's important that the teachers who are going for the evaluation first time, they understand the whole process so that it becomes easier for them to evaluate the answer sheets. Right. So I'm explaining this from the guidelines that is issued for spot evaluation. So that's a huge document, so you might find it difficult to read through the whole thing. So I'm explaining the whole thing briefly. So first of all, who is eligible? Because many students and parents, they think that anybody can evaluate. No, there is a criteria set by Cbse that if you are going for class 10 evaluation, then you need to be a TGT. And if you are going for evaluation of class 12 board exams, then you need to be a PGT. You should have minimum 3 years of teaching experience. So if you are a fresher with 1, 2, then you will not get the letter for evaluation, right? You need minimum 3 years. Also, you should be teaching board classes. See, TGT means you are a teacher teaching 6 to 10. So it is quite possible that you are not teaching the board classes. You are teaching only 6, 7, 8. So you will not be given this duty of board correction. So you need to essentially be teaching in class 10 so that you are eligible to check class 10 papers. Same with class 11 and 12. If you're teaching only class 11, you're not eligible to check a class 12 paper. So you should be teaching 10th and 12th to be eligible to correct the 10th and 12th papers, right? Also, they are giving the opportunity to teachers who have retired. Retired teachers have a lot of experience and expertise, so they are most welcome, provided they are below age of 65. So if you have a retired teacher, recently retired, 60, 61, 62, up to 65, you are still eligible for the corrections. So this is the criteria. So if you don't fall into this criteria, you will not get the evaluation letter for corrections. Going further, the next step that we have to understand is the whole structure. So every school is given a particular subject to evaluate. Normally one subject, sometimes in rare cases it is 2 subjects. Now they are going to appoint CNS. CNS means Chief Nodal Supervisor, who is the main person in charge of the examination evaluation in that particular center, which is the nodal center. And that person is normally the principal of the school, who is a subject expert. So if the subject expert is a maths teacher, the principal is a maths teacher, normally a maths evaluation goes on there. If the principal is an English teacher, a background is English, then the checking of the English goes on there, right? So it very rarely happens that the principal is a science person and English checking happens. No, normally the subject expert, the CNS is the subject expert. So, but in rare cases, as I said, if they are not able to find out evaluation centers, there may be exceptions to the case. But normally, in the majority of the cases, the chief nodal supervisor is the principal and also the subject expert. Now, the evaluation team under the chief nodal supervisor, he is the overall in charge of this whole evaluation that goes on in his or her school. Under the CNS, there are head examiners. In short, we refer to as HEs. The head examiner is a very experienced educator teaching in schools, normally having 20 to 25 years of teaching experience. They're very senior teachers. And the head examiners, in one center, under one CNS, there may be 3 or more head examiners, right? So there will be on top, we have the CNS, the chief nodal supervisor, and then we have the head examiners. Head examiners can be normally 3 or more, 3 to 4 normally in normal circumstances. Under the head examiners, you have the assistant head examiners, AHE we call it. And you know that in the board exam, there are 3 sets, set A, B, C, or set 1, 2, 3. So when you are having the AHE, there is one AHE that is assistant head examiner for set 1. There is a AHE for set 2, AHE for set 3. And under each AHE, there are 4 evaluators. So in this case, I'm just putting it as E1, E2, E3, 4. So 4 evaluators under one AHE. So 4 people are checking one set. And then under AHE2, there are 4 evaluators, AHE3, checking the set 3, there are 4 evaluators. So in one room, they're all sitting. The head examiner is the main person in that room. The CNS is the overall of the school. In that room, the head examiner is the most important person. And under the head examiners, we have 4 AHEs. The first AHE will handle set 1, second AHE will handle set 2, and third AHE will handle set 3. And each AHE will have 4 evaluators under him or her. Right? So we have 4 plus 4 plus 4, 12 evaluators and 3 AHEs. Now there is also a AHE coordination. Coordination means, there is when all this evaluation is done, there has to be a retotaling done. If there are errors that is noted down, they have to enter into the computer. There is a lot of technical work involved. So coordination is, there are 3 people as coordinators, C1, C2, C3 we call. So C1 will, coordinate set 1, C2 is coordinating set 2, and coordinator 3 will coordinate set 3. So he will go through all the papers and check whether evaluation is complete. If there is any missing thing, the totaling is correct, and they have to also enter into the computer. And the 3 coordinators are headed by AHE coordinators. AHE for coordinators. So there will be 4 AHEs. So 1 head examiner, 3 AHE for evaluation, and 1 AHE for coordination. And under evaluation, AHE evaluation, there are 4 evaluators each. And under AHE coordination, there are 3 coordinators. So if you look at this total number of evaluators, there are 12, 4 AHEs. So we have 12 evaluators and 4 AHEs, that is 16, 3 coordinators, that makes it 19, and 1 head examiner, 20. So in ideal circumstances, one room should be having 20 people, 1 head examiner, 4 AHEs, 12 evaluators, and 3 coordinators. So this is what happens in every room in a checking center in ideal circumstances. Sometimes there may be deficit, sometimes there will be more. That is, up to the head examiner how to plan out that. Now, as per the document of spot headlines, the guidelines received, number of answer books that have to be evaluated daily is 20 for the major subjects, whether it is class 12 or class 10. And most of the subjects that you see on the screen right now are the major subjects, and they have very clearly said that you have to do 20 answer sheets per day, and you have to spend 8 hours in doing it. You cannot do it in 2-3 hours and disappear, right? You have to take time. It takes 20 to 25 minutes to do one paper, so 20 minutes. So it takes time. So you have to do 20 papers in a day, and same for class 12. You have to do 20 papers. So this is class 12 subjects, and then these are the class 10 subjects. Here you will find the subjects of class 10. And here also you will find that most of the major subjects they are saying 20 papers. In the note they have written, in the subjects other than mentioned above in both the classes, 25 answer books are to be checked. So if your subject is not mentioned here, that means that evaluator has to check 25. The reason being that they may not be a 80-mark paper, it may be a 50-mark paper, like painting or that artificial intelligence. They are smaller papers, so you can check more. So 25 papers can be checked. So ideally 20 papers for major subjects, and for the other subjects not mentioned in this list, you have to check 25 papers in one day. And the whole process takes about 10 days normally for evaluation. Now, there is a color code given here, very important, that who is going to use which color pen. So if you look at this, you have to, if you are the head examiner, if you are appointed by the head examiner by the Cbse, then you have to use a green pen. You cannot use any other color. You have to use green pen. If you are the assistant head examiner, the assistant head examiner is appointed by the HE. HE is appointed by Cbse, but AHE is not appointed by Cbse. AHE is appointed by the HE, head examiner. They will use purple color pen. And the color of the pen, do not use gel pens. You have to use ballpoint pen. They have very specifically mentioned this purple. Examiners will be using red and coordinators will be using black. So that's the color code: HE green, AHE purple. Examiners will be using red and coordinator will be using black, and all ballpoint pen, no gel pens to be used, right? Precautions in allotting the marks. Now, those who are going first time, it is very important to understand this, that one question may have many subparts. So when you have subparts, you have to write the marks that you are allotting on the right side, and you are not going to circle it, right? And when you have the question number, along with the question number on the left side margin, you will be putting the total marks allotted for the question. It becomes easier for the coordinator to enter the marks. On the main page, the question wise, we are putting the marks. So question 5, let's say, may be having 2 parts, one mark each. So in one, you have given 1, in the other, you have given half. So that you have to write 1 and half on the right side of those subparts. But the total, when you total it up, you are getting 1.5 out of 2, right? So that 1.5 you have to write along with the question number, and you have to write near the question number on the left side. You will write 1.5 and you will circle that. So circling indicates that is the total mark. Subparts will not be circled. It will be written on the right side, and the total marks will be written along with the question numbers. Wherever the child has written question number, there you are going to write down the total marks and you're going to circle it. So I'm going to demonstrate with the help of a paper. So those who are not understanding, I will be demonstrating by taking a sample copy and checking it for you, right? Another very important thing is that whenever you are putting half mark or 1 mark, that has to be clear, very, very clearly. It has to be written so that there is no confusion for the person who is cross-checking, or the coordinator who may recheck it, or the head examiner is going to check that once again. If there are blank spaces, please remember to cross out that so that it is not misused at a later stage. If there is blank pages left at the end, please cross out that. So if the, normally that booklet that is being given to the students has 32 pages, child may have written only 24 pages. So the remaining 8 pages you have to cancel out. The whole page you have to cancel out. And the last page, you will write the total marks, you will sign and you will write your examiner number. The evaluation letter will have an evaluation number, your examiner number. So what you need to do is write down the total marks in words as well as in digits. And then what you are going to do is you are going to put the signature, and then you're going to write your examiner number on the last page where the student has written. Okay, that I will be showing you right now. Then it is important that if the child is not getting any marks, you have to write 0. Not this 0 in digital, but you have to write ZERO. You have to write ZERO. It's very important, because when you put ZERO, then it becomes clear that the child has written something wrong and you have awarded 0 marks. And on the title, on the cover page, you have to write 0 there. Okay, there you don't have to write ZERO. There you will be putting the digits 0. So when the coordinator is entering the marks, it becomes easy. 0, 1, 2, 0, the 0 there. But inside the answer sheet, you have to put ZERO so that there is no confusion that it is you have awarded 0 in that. And if the child has not attempted the question, it is not 0, you have to put a dash. So there is a clear difference between a question being attempted and question being left and it or attempted and it is wrong. If it is wrong, it is 0. If it is not attempted, it is dash. So on the cover page, it is important that if question 16 is not attempted, kindly do not write 0, because that is misleading. 0 means the child has done the question and you have awarded 0. If the child has not attempted, you should not write 0, you would be putting a dash. 17 is attempted, but it is wrong. There you will put 0. So this is very important for people who are going to evaluate the first time, so that you don't create any confusion for the coordinators at a later stage. So then also very important, sometimes while writing the question number, there is overwriting and something like that. The candidate is not writing the correct question number. So it's important that the evaluator is checking that whether the question attempted and the answer that is written is, matching. So if you think that, the question number is 3, but the child has written answer number 4, kindly correct the question number there. Okay, it's important that the evaluator is correcting the question number before evaluating that. Also, some candidates are going to attempt a question multiple times. Sometimes they get wrong advice. If you know a question, write it 2, 3 times. So if you think that there are multiple attempts, then you have to evaluate only one and give the marks according to that. Okay, one, whichever is right, you can give the marks there, and you have to enter that marks only 1 times on the title page. So that is why the title page, the cover page, will have question number 16. Even if the child has attempted it 3 times, you will give the marking of question 16 only once. The rest you can cross and write there extra or repeated. Okay, extra or repeated, and you are going to evaluate only one which is correct. And as I told you, you have to put your signature and the examiner number on the cover page as well. And the last page where the child has attempted. There you will put your signatures. Remaining pages, if it is blank, kindly cross it out. Okay, that's important. And it's important that you select one set and the next 10 days you gain expertise on that and keep correcting that. And then what happens is that you will be able to check faster. So if you're checking set one, continue that for the next 10 days as far as possible, unless your HE or AHE, shifts you to another set due to circumstances which are beyond their control. And if you have, if any student has done a lot of cutting and crossing, and they have attempted the question twice or thrice, or if they have, there's an optional question and they have done both. So whichever is correct, we will try to award marks to that and cross out the other. So benefit is always given to the student. If there is any discrepancies, it becomes your moral duty and responsibility to inform your head examiner or the assistant head examiner if you think that the child has used any unfair means. If there are answer books which are torn, missing pages are there. If they have written with any other ink except for blue, which was specified in the admit card, if you find that there is a black pen or green or any other color marks, that has to be indicated immediately. And if you are finding that the medium or that the child has written is not what you are actually correcting, you must be correcting English or Hindi or whatever, and suddenly you find a Gujarati or Tamil paper, then immediately you should inform the HE, because you may not be conversant with what the language of the candidate. And this is very important. So any other discrepancy, if you find, you always better that you as an evaluator should communicate to the AHE or HE so that there are no problems later. And once you finish the whole exercise, you have to get it cross-checked. Okay, now this is something which the Cbse introduced a few years back. Earlier, we used to check only once and that's it. But then there were a lot of discrepancies. People said that, I was expecting this much, some question must have been evaluated wrongly, or some question were left out probably and they didn't check properly. So many complaints came. So Cbse said there will be cross-checking. That means if I am an evaluator, I'm going to give my entire bundle to examiner 2, and I'm going to take his old bundle and I'm going to recheck it if the totaling is correct, if the marks are awarded correctly. So what happens when there is a double checking, the probability of getting correct marks becomes very high as compared to earlier years when there were a lot of discrepancies. Now you will find that only maybe 1% of candidates are not satisfied with their board marks. Earlier we used to have 4 to 5% candidates applying for re-evaluation and so on. So now it's a good thing that not only one examiner, but there is a rechecking done by another examiner. So it's a double check. So I can assure the students that 99% of the checking that goes on is is done very, very thoroughly. Once the examiner checks, it goes to the assistant head examiner, then head examiner. So probability of making mistakes is very less. But of course, we are all human beings. There can be errors at some point of time while entering the marks on the computer. And that's why we have a few cases where, students who are not satisfied apply for reevaluation. And later on, we come to know, there must have been some mistake somewhere. So asides that, I think that's 1 in 1 lakh case, very, very rare. And you know that so many students are, giving the board exams. So chances of error are very less because of the whole system that the Cbse has planned out. So here, when we talk about this cross-checking, the evaluator will check thoroughly what the other examiner has done. And also if it is, if the score is above 95 marks, the examiner is supposed to recheck properly whether the marks awarded, everything is correct or wrong. Okay. And then before leaving the center, you are supposed to return back all the answer sheets. You cannot take it back. And the examiner is allowed to leave at the end of the 8 hours, and the 20 papers are checked thoroughly, and the head examiner will give the approval for you to leave. So this is what the checking is all about, basic checking facts that you have to be for first time evaluators, and these are the things which you have to take care. Now I'm going to take out a paper for you and I'm going to evaluate it for you and show how the marking is done so that it becomes easier for you to evaluate. So now I am going to demonstrate. This is a sample paper that I have downloaded from the Cbse site. This is the toppers paper, which I have explained in a video separately. If you haven't seen that video of how to download the toppers video, please do see that. It's very important for students, how the presentation is done, etc. So here, this is the section A. These are all MCQs carrying 1 marks, right? So it is, he has started with section A. Now, as an evaluator, what you are supposed to do is check these answers with respect to the marking scheme. When you go to the evaluation center, you get a marking scheme. Okay. So you have to study the marking scheme and you have to check that. So first answer he has written 1B. You will check the marking scheme. If it is 1B, you know, there's a 1 mark question. So you're going to write here 1 and put a circle here. So this is what I was telling, that you are going to write the marks along with the question number on the left side of the margin. Don't put it on the right side. Right side without circling to be done only for questions which have got subparts. So question number 1, if I had 5 subparts, then I will put there. Otherwise, question number 1. This is question number 2. I'm going to put 1. Question number 3, see here, he has cut out this and written this. So ignore this because it's a clean cut and he has rewritten it. So no problem. So if it was overwriting, then it would have been a big question mark. But here it's not overwriting. He has cut out this and he has written this. This is correct. 4D, correct. 5A, correct. I'm checking with the marking scheme. I'm getting that he's getting all the answers correct. So I'm going to continue this process in the whole question paper. Now, all these marks, if you see, along with the question, we are putting the marks, not so it becomes easy for you to put these marks on the title page, the front page of the answer sheet, okay, where you are going to award. So in the cover sheet, you will have question number like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And here you are going to put the marks here, right? You're going to put the marks here. So question number 9, then 9, 10, 11, all these questions. So if a student has attempted question number 9 twice, you're going to enter it only once. Okay, so this is going to be the procedure for evaluation. You're going to put the markings here on the left side of the margin. Now, this process will go on, and this child has done all the answers correct. He's the topper. So it's 100% paper. So it is going to be reevaluated by the second examiner and by the head examiner, right? All the questions are correct. Now, any unattempted pages that are there, cross it out. So the child has already crossed out, so no problem. Otherwise, it becomes the duty of the evaluator to cross it out, right? So these are all questions one by one. Now see, these are section E question, case study questions. So here, these have got subparts. So when it has got subparts, I'm going to put here. Now this is subpart 1. So I'm going to put here 1. I'm not going to put a circle here. I'm just going to write here 1. This is important. And then this is subpart 2. In the subpart 2, I'm going to write here 1 on the right side. No circling here, right? Subpart 3 is 2 marks. So I'm going to put here 2, right? So I've got 1, 1, and 2. Total is, it's a case study, so it's a 4-mark question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to question number 36, add up 1, 1, and 2. So you get 4. So here I will put 4 and put a circle. This is what I was talking about, the subparts. Subparts will not be circled. You have to just write here 1, 1, 2. And the total of this you will be writing along with the question number here, right? And that has to be circled. And this child has got everything correct, but suppose there was a student who had got the answer of question number 36, something he has written and is wrong. So what you need to do is write here ZDRO is very important, not 0. Okay, because this is very confusion, 0, and then you are putting a circle. So you have to put here ZDRO. This is important. And as I told you, you have to sign, put your signature here, and you have to put your examiner number. So right now I'm putting a fictitious number because I cannot disclose my original number. So I'm putting a fictitious number here, 15230, something like that will come. And here the examiner number, this thing, the number is written. And then you're going to write the total marks scored here. That is, the child has scored 80 out of 80. So I'm going to write here 80 by 80. And I'm going to write here in words as well, 89 only. Now, one precaution is, suppose the child had got, let's say, this is 80 out of 80 is evident, but suppose the child had got 48.5, right? So 48.5 will be rounded off to the next higher decimal and we'll write 49. So I'm going to write 49 out of 80 and I'm going to write here 49 only, right? And I'm going to sign and I'm going to put my number here. There is whatever examiner number is it. So signature is important. Your examiner number is important, because if there is some error or something, the examiner has to take the responsibility. Now the second examiner, this is examiner number one, the second examiner will sign below this or adjacent to this. So second examiner is going to cross check this and then he is going to put the examiner number here. Okay, 36555 and examiner number, and he is going to sign here. And this is the format. And if there are spaces left after this, all that has to be crossed out. So I'm sure this video is going to help people who are going for evaluation first time. Also, it is going to help the parents and students whose children are studying in 10th and 12th, so that they understand the evaluation is done and they can present a better paper. Thank you so much.